Paula here. Welcome back to my channel, The Flavorful Home, and a very impromptu video response to the wonderful Heather over at the Needy Homesteader. She did the ultimate dinner roll, and I've been on the hunt for a soft, lovely dinner roll. My son comes home from college tomorrow. I wanted to have some rolls in the house because he loves to have sandwiches. And so I'm going to whip them up. And we're going to put 2 tablespoons of yeast in. My yeast stays in the freezer, so it needs to warm up. And it gets a 1/2 cup of sugar. Sugar feeds your yeast. That's what sugar does. I don't have my mic on, so it might be a little hard to hear me. Yes, sugar brings your yeast to life. My milk. Give me 1 second here. I'm going to grab that. This is milk and 5 tablespoons of butter. The milk was at about 106 or so. And you're layering. You layer your ingredients. You get your sugar in there because an egg has to go in. And let's get that egg in. Salt will go last because salt is a yeast killer. And it's a teaspoon of salt, and I have my sea salt here. I'm trying to get this clump of yeast off. Let me bring over my flour bowl. And I have this giant scoop I got from Hobby Lobby on clearance. I absolutely love it. You probably heard Heather's video in the background there because I'm watching it to get all the ingredients. That's 1, 2, 3, 4. You just want to get it on top there, and let me put my 4. Now what happens is your kitchen is going to be way different than mine. Trust me on that. And I'm just going to put my teaspoon of salt on top. So as your bread is mixing, you might find you need a little more flour, but we'll get to that step in a minute. Now you could see how the dough is all stuck on the sides. And looking at it, I can tell it's going to need a little more. The more you bake bread, the more you learn just what your dough is supposed to look like. I have not bought bread since June of 20. And bread used to be my nemesis. I used to be so afraid of making bread that it wouldn't rise and whatnot. Now the only time I buy bread really is if I'm doing something at the last minute, and it's not bread, it's usually hot dog buns or burger buns. It's starting to come together nice. I'm happy with how that is. You want it to start pulling away from your sides. You want your sides clean. And it's starting to get there. I'm just going to do a little bit more. Something else that I've learned through just making breads and biscuits, slightly tacky will lead to a softer bread or roll or biscuit. I just want to get my scraper. I want to just pull a little bit down. It's going to need a little more flour. I can tell that, and I can tell by touching it, but I want to pull that down because I can be a little anal with stuff like that, and I want all that off. And just, I'm hitting you, sorry about that. Okay, now I'm going to add more because it definitely needs it. You'll be able to tell when it's had enough. There's a big difference between tacky and you can't get the dough off your fingers. Tacky will give you a more tender, softer crumb. Your biscuits, your rolls, your breads will be better for it. And I'm going to add a little more. See that? You want, and it could trick you too. You'll think, oh, this looks great. You'll put your timer on, walk away for a couple of minutes, and come back, and it's sticking again. So just watch it. I think it's good now. I think it's going to be fine. I also have turned my oven on very low. I'll leave it on for about a minute because my kitchen is cold. I live in an old home that's very drafty, and my kitchen is cold until cooking is going on. So I want this to rise, so I put it in my oven. We'll come back when we're up to that. Now you can see it's cleaned the bowl. It's still slightly tacky, but it's not where my fingers are a mess. Just has a slight tack to it. So you knead it for 5 minutes. Okay, 5 minutes. And what do? I get my Clorox wipe and I just wipe my counter down. And then I let it dry. And this dough is perfect. It's so nice and soft. What a pretty color it is. It's a more yellow hue to it. It's nice and smooth. That is pretty. And then I have my olive oil. That's my olive oil spray. Look how nice and clean it is in there. Just a couple of spots. And I take it from the bottom, swipe it, flip it. I will cover it and come back in 30 minutes. This is a really nice recipe. And I'm glad Heather shared it. We'll be back when this has doubled. Look at that. You see how pretty that is? You want to deflate it, and so I just gently push it down. Now, Heather, and I have my rolling pin here, I'll decide if I'm going to use it, because she rolls hers out, and I brought my scale out too, because, yeah, I'll just use my rolling pin. She did a 2-ounce roll. I'm not sure I'm going to go that small. I might do a slightly larger roll. I'll decide as I'm going to just move you a little bit and tilt you. And I will link her video so you have the complete recipe and you can follow her lead. Heather was very instrumental in helping me get over my fear of making bread. It's kind of crazy. A little mid-2019, maybe more towards the fall of 19, I started watching homesteaders and their canning. I watched Sarah from Living Traditions, and I started binging Heather like crazy. Something in my gut just said, learn how to do this. And I'm glad I did. And Heather is a wonderful teacher, very calm, takes her time, just wonderful. Okay, let me get my, I'm going to move you this way, get my bench scraper. I'm going to turn my scale on to ounces. And again, I'm not quite sure what I'm going to make them yet. Because I think I want them a little bit bigger. Let me just see out of curiosity. Once I cut it, well, this one's a small one, I can tell. I just want to see where it's at. This one's a little over 2. And let me see. That one's 3. All right, I'm going to finish cutting them, and then I'll decide where I'm going with it. Again, making bread is just such a relaxing process. I love getting into the dough, and I just love making my breads. Something I never thought I would ever do, and I'm doing it. All right, that's 2.9. I'm going to decide, and I'll come back. Okay, I decided to go with a 4-ounce roll, which was double Heather's size. When I do them, I kind of make a C and pull them towards me. And you want just, you can pinch your bottoms a little so you have a nice bottom, but it's all just making tension on your surface. It's what you're doing when you make bread, when you're working with sourdough. It's just pulling it tight, and then so you have a pretty bottom. And I'll put it on, I have a parchment lined cookie sheet. You just Believe it or not, my dough is cold, but I have my oven preheating at 375, and that's where these will rest for 30 minutes to rise again and then get baked. Okay. Pretty little roll. I will continue with this and show you them all on my sheet when I'm done. Guys, look at these beautiful, beautiful rolls. Heather brushes them with milk, so that is what I'm going to do. They rose so pretty. My oven is at 375, fully preheated. Heather said anywhere from 20 to 30 minutes. Everyone's oven is different. My oven runs very hot. It's an Italian oven, and us Italians run hot. So I will check it after 15 minutes because I do not want them to burn. These are really just beautiful. I cannot wait for them to be cooked so that I can try one. I will melt butter. I'm just going to keep them plain. I'm not going to put anything on them. It depends on my mood. Sometimes I will do everything seasoning. Sometimes I do toasted sesame seeds. It's just all depending on my mood and what I feel like doing. These really are pretty. They rose very nicely. Again, my kitchen's on the cold side, but that didn't hinder their rising. All right, I'm gonna pop them in and we'll come back when they're done. Guys, these are beautiful. They're on fire. I just took them out, but they are so soft. I'm going to brush them with the melted butter. I told you about my oven. They were in there for a total of 13 or 14 minutes. But I did 9 minutes and then I switch. I rotate them. Top goes to the bottom, bottom goes to the top, and I turn the trays so everyone bakes evenly. These are just perfect. These are perfect little sandwich rolls or breakfast toasted with some butter. Mamma mia. I also baked mine on convection. Convection does cook your baked goods a little quicker. Okay, I'm gonna switch out real quick and get the other tray. I just can't get over how soft they are. It's crazy. I'm gonna serve these with dinner. I did chicken soup, lemon chicken, rosemary, but I'm doing tortellini instead of orzo. Normally it's orzo, but you can't go wrong with tortellinis. These are going to be some yummy rolls. Very happy with them. Remember to check the description box. I'm going to link directly to Heather doing this recipe so that you could get all the information. She is a font of great knowledge for canning and bread making, a lot of scratch cooking. If you don't follow her, you should be. Look at that. Those are things of beauty. I'm just going to use up all this butter. We'll come back when we're going to bust into one of these babies. Alrighty, guys. Super soft. Beautiful. Well, I hope you enjoyed that, and I'll put a link to the original recipe below.